What's up, guys? Welcome back to the channel. Boozer here. Thanks for stopping by. Back on the test server today, and I got a really exciting video for you guys. Did a lot of play testing here on the test server, I think I broke the Shogun's Grove. So let's jump right into it. I want to show you guys what I've been working on. But first, let's talk about the Shogun's Grove balance changes and why this dungeon has been balanced for the better, for the masses, making it more accessible for everybody. Basically, the threshold at which the boss will reach his ultimate form and all his bonuses have been increased by 10 shade counters. You also increase his shade counters slower per level. So as you can clearly see here, it went from 8 to 6, and his threshold increased by 10. Also, if you have awakenings on your champions, if they do multi-hits, they also have a chance to do additional stacks to remove shade counters. So in summary, the shade counter generation by the boss has become more difficult for him, and the shade counter removal has been easier for the player, as well as base stats being removed from the boss. We're not 100% sure how much accuracy is needed for him right now. So far, I think about 400 is pretty good. It might even be slightly less, but around 400, you're pretty safe. So let's move on after knowing those stats and the balance changes. All right, guys, so I play tested about 10 different teams, but they all have the same backbone, all have the same foundation to the team that I feel is so universal that it's going to help everybody farm this dungeon, no matter whatever champions you have. As long as you have the foundation of the team, you can build around that and it will work perfectly fine, because the speed variation is very high. There's no real speed tune, I guess. There is, but there isn't at the same time. You guys will notice, I'll show you guys, I think 10 different teams and 10 different setups, but it's all based on the same foundation. And what I'm talking about here is the 2 cleanser, 3 DPS Shogun Grove farm team. And this is for 25, but this also works as you're progressing, and I'll show you guys a run of it progressing through the Shogun, and I'll show you guys what you need to do in that situation. But basically, the backbone of this team is basically 2 cleansers that have set speeds, and then you have 3 DPS running wild in between those speed ranges. And on 25, it lines up perfectly so that the cleanses always happen after the Shogun deals his debuff ability on your team. Double cleansers also cover when the other cleanser is not ready, so that's a really big thing as well. And honestly, this setup is so flexible. Even the blessing requirement is relatively low. I would recommend having some, but it is very low. So anyways, I'm going to show you guys this team here. We're going to start from the fastest team, and then we'll slowly work our way down the budget, and then we'll reach some pretty budget builds, and then you guys can be the judge of the team for yourselves. So let's get started here. So this team, we got 2 nuts plus ninja, obviously a lot of DPS here. This is going to be a very, very fast team. So let's get this started. We'll talk through it. So Riho in the lead. Riho is going to open with her debuffs. So the Shogun will attack Wither here. Wither is the champion with the highest crit damage. So make sure you gear the slow cleanser with the highest crit damage. That's very important. The Shogun will always attack her first, and make sure she is tanky enough to take the hit. Even if it's a crit, for example, you have to be able to be tanky enough to hit it. Ideally, a force affinity champion is good. You really don't want to use like a negative affinity cleanser if you can help it. Wither works really well here. So the debuffs go on. Ninja lays the smack. So you see here, his max hit is 294. That's the cap on the level 25 Shogun. That's something to remember. He can weak hit, but with the defense down and weaken applied by Riho, even if he weak hits, it's pretty big and it's pretty close to max. See, there's his weak hit, 185. It's pretty close. Second one coming in, 144. So there is the first debuffs applied by the Shogun. And then the Brimstone lands. Really, really nice having the Brimstone there. Of course, if you have a legendary with the Brimstone, it deals tons of damage. And then the slow cleanser will cleanse and everything is happy. There's Riho with the backup cleanse because Riho will be the future cleanser because Wither is too slow to get her cleanse back. So here we go. Brimstone doing a lot of work here. Shade counter is going up a little bit because we don't have a lot of blessings on this. But yeah, there it is. 28 seconds for this team. Not particularly lucky or unlucky, but yeah, you see the shade counter going up a little bit, but honestly, with the balance changes, the plus 10 extra shade counter threshold for the Shogun really makes it a lot more manageable. He's not as scary, even at 40 stacks. At 40 stacks, he starts taking much less damage, but obviously you don't want him to reach 50 stacks. That's when he will probably wipe your team in one hit. But between 20 and 30, you can probably still get away with most runs, even if the shade counter is at that level. So anyways, we'll go through his run. 28 seconds for this team. Show you guys the presets here. This is kind of important. So Riho always opens with the pressure points. The thing is, Riho is probably the best cleanser here because she does apply the defense down and weaken. And she does increase your team's overall power. She also brings HP burn as well. Ninja is doing whatever. So pay attention to the speeds here. So Ninja's 273, Nut's 267, and second Nut is 266. These speeds in between the two cleansers can basically be almost anything. It doesn't matter. The faster they are, the more damage they will output, and the faster the run will be. But they don't need to be that fast. That's the best thing about this foundation. So you have the Wither here, 161 speed. So 161 speed, slow Wither with the max crit damage on her. She will open with her cleanse. If you use another cleanser in her spot, make sure they open with the cleanse, okay? 161 speed on the Wither. And of course, highest crit damage, that's very important. Just going over the gear here real quick. Ninja with a bunch of refresh stuff. War Master for some extra damage. Brimstone, of course, for more damage. Nut lethal with Giant Slayer. I use them in other areas, so I didn't really change them at all. Here's the Wither. She doesn't need masteries at all, so these masteries were from another build. Here's Riho. Riho's just, yeah, overkill on the accuracy, but she was from my old Sand Devils team, so the accuracy was a bit higher. Masteries, you can put War Master on her for some more damage. Eagle Eye is definitely not necessary here. And then the second Nut's in Relentless, definitely not necessary. Accuracy is not necessary either, so. All right, so that's team one. Team one is the fastest one. I'm going to show you guys a lot more teams after this. So this one, I replaced the two Nuts with Cold Hearts. So, you know, taking a step down from the two Nut team, we're doing two Cold Hearts and Ninja. Same cleansers here, of course. And we'll start to run. All right, so debuffs going down. Wither took the first hit. Heartseeker, Heartseeker. And then boom, big slam, debuffs, and then cleanse. Boom. Perfect. Perfect timing on everything. Giant Slayer's landing. Ninja's slapping away with the HP burns. Riho applying the debuffs again. HP burn as well there. And then there's the Heartseeker again. Cleanse just in time. Boom, Heartseeker. Just in time. So if Cohart used Heartseeker while she was enfeebled, she would weak hit and increase the shade counter. But Riho's perfectly timed to cleanse just before the attacks go off. So works really well. 31 seconds. 3 seconds slower than double Nut team with double Cohorts here. All right, so I'll show you guys the presets. I'll show you guys the gear, of course. Same team. There you go. Same cleanser, so Riho and Wither don't change. Ninja doesn't change here either. Here's the first Cold Heart, 264, 281 crit damage. You probably don't need that high since you have Riho. If you don't have Riho, then you probably need maybe higher to cap it. And then second, Cold Heart 223. She's from another team. I just kind of slapped her in. But yeah, works really, really well. You notice that the speeds are quite different from the first two nuts. And you'll see many variations of different speeds on the various teams we'll be showing here today. So just the gear here, I got Merciless on one of the Cold Hearts just to get extra Heart Seekers for an extra second or two off. Giant Slayer on this one. Second one, have Reflex, same idea, get extra Heart Seekers. No masteries on this one. Definitely can add masteries, add attack for more damage, of course. All right, so that's team 2. So here's team 3. I subbed out the Ninja for another max HP damage dealer for Husk. Husk works well here because he has positive affinity. So you probably slap harder. Not slap harder, but you at least will be able to slap proper damage. Like using a Spirit Nuker, you're not going to hit full damage all the time. So I'm just going to use Husk here for simplicity's sake. Same 2 Cold Hearts, and we'll just run it here. See how this one goes. Keep in mind, actually, my Husk is not built super well, so he's not going to, I don't think he's going to cap out here. So Heart Seeker, okay, he does cap out. Okay, he does cap out. He's not built particularly well. You guys will see the stats. His A1 hitting for about 20k. All right. Cleanse coming in there. Wither still soaking up all the damage. Still soaking it up. Here comes debuffs. Really helps. A little bit of extra damage here. Relentless proc. And then down. So 54 seconds here with the Husk. Not ideal. But the Husk is also not built super well. He's also a bit slower. So he's not getting around to his attacks fast enough. You see the stats here. He was still capping out with his damage, but you see here he's only 220 speed, so he's the slowest of the bunch. 233 crit damage. Able to cap out his max HP slam with the decreased defense and weaken. But the speed difference makes it so that he doesn't get around to his 4-turn cooldown skill that fast. Same team otherwise, but it still worked out. 54 seconds there. Show you guys the rest of the team. Same team, right? Same team as the one we just used. We just subbed out Ninja for Husk. And Husk is in Relentless with some refresh stuff just for some extra chance at the AoE max HP slam. All right, so I'll show you guys another team here. So here's triple Cold Heart. You guys might not have triple Cold Hearts, but this is what triple Cold Hearts look like in this team. So the same 2 Cold Hearts that we used in the last 2 teams, we're putting in a third one. Let's see what it can do. Keep in mind that your Cold Hearts don't need to be 50 as long as they can cap out the damage here. Of course, Giant Slayer helps, but you'll notice that my Cold Hearts are not fully mastered either. So triple Cold Heart Seekers there. Cleanse right off the debuffs, and then we just carry on. If I had Giant Slayer on all of them, you would be seeing a lot more Giant Slayer damage. Looks like a reflex proc, refresh proc, I think. So we got an extra Heart Seeker. Lucky extra Heart Seeker there. You see there, Riho covering the cleanse when Wither could not cleanse. Wither just tanking it. There you go, 38 seconds. This is a little bit lucky because of the reflex proc. A little bit lucky there, but you see that 3 Cold Hearts, 38 seconds. It probably would have been closer to 50 seconds if we didn't get the reflex trigger. I'll show you guys Of course, the presets on the cold hearts are the same. You just omit the A2. Nothing different. This is the extra code heart that I put in, 212 speed. So as you can clearly see, there's no real rhyme or rhythm to the speed tune of what I'm subbing in here. So 212 speed, 264 speed, 223 speed. They just need to be in between the two cleansers. All right, so I'll show you guys the other code heart here. So just built in whatever gear, no masteries. And then she was doing just fine. All right, so we move on. We'll show you guys another team here. So let's say you guys have no code hearts. You guys have no nut, no ninja, no husk. You guys have no max HP damage dealers. You poor souls, right? Anyways, let's put 3 arena damage dealers in here and see what happens. Same formula here, the 2 cleansers, same speeds, and we'll just shoehorn in 3 damage dealers from our arena teams into this team and see what happens. Decrease defense and weaken, and then the slams come down. Debuffs come out, cleanse, yep. Backup cleanse goes off. Big slam there, 350k from Roto, so he's already outdoing the max HP damage from the other max HP champions. $200k right there from the A1 from Rotos. And that was a 200k A1. There's a huge slam from Harima. 41 seconds, guys, with 3 arena damage dealers. Yes, they are geared well. But yeah, let's take a look at them. They actually were watered down a little bit because my Wither didn't have enough crit damage to overtake them. So I had to bring down their stats a little bit. So here's my Rotos. He's 279 with 283 crit damage in lethal and cruel. Speed, like I said, speed is almost, I would say, is not really that important in this setup, to be honest. The faster it is, the better it is, because you're going to deal more damage. Here's my Taras, also watered down, 284 crit damage. Speed just slightly lower than Rotos. Arima here, 262 crit damage, and 265 speed. Doing whatever. Actually, the problem with Taras in this setup is that he actually brings his A1, which actually increases turn meter. In this fight, we didn't see it being an issue, but the A1 actually does cause some issues. So I did find a way to kind of fix it for Taras, but I would recommend not using somebody that increases your team's turn meter. So that is a bit of a limit there. To show you guys the individual gear pieces. So here's my Rotos, lethal, cruel. You see that I had to swap out his crit damage amulet just to bring down his crit damage a little bit. Helm Smasher. So here's Taras again, watered down a little bit. Helm Smasher. And Harima had to water down the crit damage amulet just to bring down the crit damage here. Helm Smasher again. Like, you could put a Brimstone on one of these guys and it's going to do, it's going to do way faster, right? A single Brimstone on one of these legendaries, it would have been a lot faster. All right, so I'll show you guys another team here. So you guys can substitute these cleansers basically for any 3-turn cleansing champion. So Wither has a 3-turn cleanse, Riho has a 3-turn cleanse. In this team, I'm going to sub out Riho, which is basically like the best 3-turn cleanser for this team, because she brings HP burn, she brings decreased attack, which really helps basically keep your squishier guys, a squishier cleanser alive if she was squishy, for example. Wither is not squishy at all, but she also brings the decreased defense and weaken, which makes your team stronger, so the run will be faster. So she's really good. But you can basically sub out these cleansers for any 3-turn cleansers. I was going to show a run with Reliquary Tender, which is a rare champion and has a 3-turn cleanse. But I don't have a reliquary tender on my account, so I couldn't even show you guys the reliquary tender. The other champion that I was thinking about showing you guys is actually Battle Sage. Battle Sage is a epic, void epic from the High Elves, and she has a 3-turn cleanse with a attack up. And I don't have a Battle Sage on my account, so I couldn't show you guys that either. I'm on the test server, but I don't have those champions. So anyways, if you guys have those champions, you guys can use them as your 3-turn cleanser, and those are super budget options, to be honest, and they'll work. All right, so I'll show you guys this run with Mithrala. All right. Mithrala, yep. So Mithrala opening with the attack up and defense up is good, obviously, for your nukers. Do some extra damage, of course. She's going to come in here. Cleanse goes off perfectly on time. 300k slam from Rotos. Poisons from Mithrala actually deal a little bit extra damage as well. She has a Brimstone on as well, so that's going to help do some extra damage to the boss. Alright, Harima is actually pretty good because she decreases the defense. Big slam there from Rotos. Here comes the debuffs. Yep. So this is the run where Taras's A1 actually messed things up because of the turn meter. So I said, nope, I'm out. And I did actually make a small tweak in his AI, and it worked out perfectly fine. So this is the fix for that. Just wanted to show you guys that. I opened with his A2. I noticed that previously in all the runs, he doesn't prioritize his A2 at all. So he does one extra A1 throughout the fight, which throws off the speed tune. Well, speed tune, or it's kind of a speed tune. But it throws off the cleansers just enough that Mithrala cleansed too quickly, and that resulted in the debuffs, the enfeebled debuffs on too many champions, and then it boosted up the shade counter too quickly. So here, see that? Perfect. Debuffs were on, perfectly cleansed, everything is fine. So even though Taras did boost the turn meter on his A1, I made it work just because he did one less turn meter boost. But I would definitely recommend not using Taras because of that small little issue, but you can definitely use him. 47 seconds here with Mithrala, still very, very good, even though she is not as good as Riho, and I'm using 3 arena damage dealers here. So I'll show you guys the setup here for Mithrala. She has to use the she has to open with the Hex and then the cleanse, but Mithrala here is basically using the same gear as the Riho. She's one speed slower, and it seems to work fine. So 281 and 282 work fine for the fast cleanser. Okay, and for the slow cleanser, I don't think I've showed it yet. The slow cleanser can be 160 or 161. I think I show it later on in this video. I think I show you guys the presets here just to make sure. Yeah, so Mithrala always opens with the A2, and then in this fight I prioritized Taras's A2, so he had one less A1 during the fight, which didn't throw off the team. Okay guys, so we're getting a little bit more budget here. So you don't even have 3 good arena, damage dealers now. You have 3 whatever damage dealers, and I kind of just thrown them in there. Of course my damage dealers are still decently geared, right? But here we have 3 kind of whatever damage dealers. They kind of don't really make sense, like for example like the rat, but it'll be kind of cool to see how much damage bombs actually do. And we're still using Mithrala here. We're not going to use Riho, so Mithrala would be like the more budget option for you guys. So Wither takes the first hit, which is fine. So attack up and everything. So yeah, we're just chipping away here. We got the debuffs, it gets cleansed off, and then our damage dealers slowly chip away at everybody. Keep in mind the blessings aren't very high. We don't have defense down. We do have increased attack, and we do have attack based damage dealers. So that does help. The bombs are boosted by plus attacks, so that does help too. Poisons do help too. Here comes the debuffs, and then cleanse just in time. Have enough accuracy to land bombs and stuff. We do have decreased attack on, so that's helpful for keeping Wither alive. All right. Rhonda does have a 3-star on her, so that's very helpful. For example, if Rhonda had a 0-star, she would be doing all these counterattacks and multi-hits, and she would probably just jack up the shade counter. Debuffs, right into the cleanse, perfect. And then we're just chipping away doing the damage. And I think that's going to be it there. Yep, 121 with basically 3 random damage dealers here. Nishak doing pretty good, 1.2 million damage with the poisons, the bombs. Rhonda doing more damage than Ethos there, but Ethos could be just basically any generic AoE, damage dealer that you guys have. That's kind of why I picked him. Rhonda and Ethos both still have pretty good gear, I think, relatively speaking. So same, Mithrala 281, Rhonda whatever speed, 265 speed, Nishak 218 speed, Ethos 206 speed. Is just very random. It's very random. As long as they're in between the 2 cleansers, it will work, guys. All right, looking pretty good. All right, so I'll show you guys the individual pieces here. I do have Rhonda and Savage, Helm Smasher, Mithrala, same gear, Ethos with Savage and Cruel, Helm Smasher, and then Nishak in Broken Pieces with War Master. Yep, and here we go. We're going to do a stage 17. So I'm trying to simulate what would happen if you were progressing through the stages of Shogun with a team similar to this. Okay, so I'll show you guys what you guys need to do slightly different, because the speeds on the cleansers are basically made for level 25. So when you're progressing, you need to do things slightly different. The presets here are the same. Watch what happens here. You see right there, Wither cleanses and there's no debuffs on the team. It's because her speed is tuned for the 25 boss, and on 17, for example, it's slower. The boss is slower. So the 2 cleanses happen, and then the boss places the debuffs. So it's a little bit of a pickle, right? So what would happen here is you should manual this situation if you run into this situation. Manualing this situation would be, a bit more safe. You notice here that his shade counter does go up a little bit more quickly, because obviously our champions are enfeebled, and that's going to raise up his shade counter. So he has 24 right now, 29. But you notice that the 3-turn cooldown, cleanse, they get back to it. All right, there you go. Still good, still works out. Okay, it does seem like the lower levels, you can really just blow them up. So Ethos here doing most of the damage, just blowing them up with the AoE damage. So we're back at 25. I want to show you guys the last team here, basically substituting the back end cleanser just to make sure you guys see it working. So we started with Riho in the lead cleanse with Wither in the back cleanse, and now we just subbed out both cleansers, and our team is completely different. Now. So we're running Mithrala for the fast cleanse, and then with Pythion, which has a 3-turn cleanse, in the slow cleanse position with the highest crit damage. Okay, so we'll see this run here with arguably the weakest DPS options of the entire video, and we'll see how these guys do. So debuffs get landed, cleansed off, backup cleanse goes off. Perfect. DPS doing their thing. Shade counter is nice and low. Python tanky enough to take the hits. So that's kind of the thing that you need to be worried about a little bit, is that your slow cleanser needs to be tanky enough to take consistent damage. All right. Ideally with the way to heal, right? If you have a way to heal, that's even better. So somebody that can take a hit and heal up. See him just taking damage. Brimstone, everybody's just kind of doing like chip damage. Brimstone's really good here. Debuffs come on, cleansed off, perfectly synced up, and that's it. Minute 11. Minute 11. It was a minute 21 with Withier, minute 11 with Python. I mean, yeah, this is super consistent, guys. This works. I've shown you guys, I don't know, 10 different teams here. You see, okay, so Python here is 160 speed. Wither was 161 the whole video, and 160 speed still works. I haven't tested any other range, but I know the range on these cleansers are pretty tight, so I wouldn't deviate too much from it. So slow cleanser 160, 161, fast cleanser 281, 282. Okay, I wouldn't deviate too much from those speed ranges. The 3 DPS basically can be anything in between. I've shown you guys a pretty wide range of DPS options. There's a Python 160 with the highest crit damage here. No mastery selected. And yeah, that's going to be it. I mean, that's going to be it for the video. Hopefully I showed you guys a super accessible way of dealing with this Shogun's Grove. And it should be flexible enough so that it applies to as many people as possible. That's kind of what I was going for. Like I've shown you guys like much fat, like, you know, pretty insane teams with like double nuts and all that stuff. So you guys can make this team really fast and obviously farm it really well. Or you guys can kind of just shoehorn in whatever you guys got for 3 DPSs and make it work. As long as you have the 2 cleansers in those speed ranges and they can survive the hits. There's no like turn meter stuff on your masteries or anything weird like that. You don't even need insane blessings for these comps to work. If you check out some of the comps, the blessings are actually really low. So keep that in mind, guys. That's going to be it for the video. Hopefully it breaks the Shogun for you guys. I would love to hear what some success stories that you guys have, or what kind of DPS options you guys are using, or team options you guys are using. Like I said, guys, Battle Sage, Reliquary, Tender would be some solid budget options for 3-turn cleanse options. Obviously they need some half decent gear to keep them alive, of course, but I think those are good places to start. There's going to be some good legendaries here for that spot as well. Riho would be top draw for this kind of team for speed, but overall you're still looking at about a minute 10, even in the worst ranges of your options, versus 25-30 seconds. So anyways, guys, thanks for watching the video. Hopefully you guys enjoyed it. Make sure you guys like and subscribe if you guys enjoy the content. Thanks for supporting the channel as always, and I'll see you guys in the next video.